And to help us break down the political implications of Vice President Sara Duterte's 2028 presidential bid, we are now joined by political observer Earl Pareño. Good morning, Sir, and good to have you back here on Morning Matters.
Yeah, good morning, Pauline. Gandang umaga sa lahat ng mga nanonood.
Okay, well, Earl, you wrote one of the most in-depth biographies of the former President Rodrigo Duterte. And now that his daughter, Vice President Sara Duterte, has announced her bid for presidency in 2028, would you say this was inevitable? This is really the next chapter in the Duterte's political narrative?
Yeah, maski as early as 2022, nung tumakbo sila under unit team, matagal ng plano ni Sara talaga na tumakbong presidente. Kaya in-officialize niya lang ito ngayon. It's not surprising na in-announce niya publicly yung desire niya na tumakbo sa pagka-presidente. Reflection lang ito, Pauline, kasi na marami pang kailangan paghandaan sila ang Duterte Black. Kasi ang Duterte Black is not a solid black, no? May mga cracks yan sa loob at kailangan nila ayusin yan. Of course, ang impeachment is another factor na kailangan niya depensahan at ang pag-officialize niya ng announcement, no, natatakbo siya ay in a way could help defend doon sa mga sa mga moves to impeach her.
So do you think the timing here was really calculated and was strategic in preparation for the impeachment cases that she currently faces in the lower house?
Not just the impeachment cases, but yung solidify ng at pag-aayos ng mga cracks within the bloc. Kasi yun yung kailangan nila paghandaan. Kung titignan mo, hindi lahat ng supporters ng tatay niya, ni former President Duterte, ay susuporta sa kanya. Doon sa field, pag titignan mo ngayon sa field, last Sunday yata ito or last week, sa Cebu, linaunch nila yung Tatay Digong for Sara Duterte Movement 2028. Reflection nito na pilit nilang inuugnay, of course, si Sara sa tatay niya. Parang siya yung parang dapat tagapagmana, the heiress, no? Kasi may maraming tumitingin na si Sara ay may apelyidong Duterte, pero sa totoo lang, wala siyang DNA Digong. Ang may DNA Digong ay si Bongo. Kaya marami sa mga tao nila, lalo na yung mga matatandang officials, no? The military officials, police officials sa supporters ni Digong, mga barangay captains, ito yung may mga influence pa doon sa mga leaders all over Mindanao, including some revolutionary groups, no? Ito yung may influence, ay nagsabi na doon pa na hanggang kay Tatay Digong lang tayo susuporta. Yung mga anak, walang solid support yon from Tatay Digong's core of supporters. Kaya yun yung kailangan nila i-solidify. Kaya kailangan nila i-launch itong pag-uugnay, closely associating Sara with her father sa 2028 para itong bid niya sa presidency ay magkakaroon ng mas malalim as broader na suporta.
So what you're seeing here, Earl, is that much of Sara Duterte's political capital still comes from her last name, from the former president, and hindi nyo nakikita na may DNA siya politically nung kanyang tatay. What makes you say that? And what makes you also believe that si Bongo pa ang may dala nung tinatawag mong DNA?
Yun yung, actually, ang sinasabi ko, Pauline, yun yung feedback mula sa mga supporters niya, lalo na sa Davao, no? Yung mga matatanda. Sa tingin nila kasi kay Sara, Duterte siya, pero hindi siya necessarily tagapagmana ng mga programs at saka mga plano ng tatay niya. Si Bongo ito. Kaya kung titignan mo, kung babalikan mo, maunawaan natin ito kung babalikan natin yung 2028 at 2022 elections. Ang original plan ng mga ni Digong noon at ni Bongo, si Digong magiging vice ni Bongo. Kaso lang, itong dumating si Sara sa eksena, hindi nila mapababa si Sara or mapa-atras doon sa presidential bid niya. So, hinayaan nila. Ito yung time na si Rodrigo Duterte ay nagsabing wag na lang siya sana tumakbo dahil hindi ito pambabae na posisyon at kampanya, masasaktan lang siya. So, ganun yung nangyari noon. Pero nagtuloy-tuloy, tapos mas na lumala yung alitan ng mag-ama. Nung bumaba, nag-decide si Sara na maging vice president na lang ni Marcos. So hindi ito naghilom, hindi ito na maski doon sa na-arrest na si Digong, yes, may level of personal healing yung mag-ama, pero sa political, iba pa rin talaga yung organization nila. So, kaya uulitin ko, ang pag-announce niya, pag-officialize niya sa presidential bid niya ay para ito mas maisulong nila ng mabuti ang paghahanda, no, sa 2028. At sa tingin ko, part lang ang pag-defend niya sa impeachment, the impeachment cases against her.
So it's more of about solidifying the base and addressing the cracks, as you mentioned. But of course, we can't not talk about the impeachment complaints that she is facing at the lower house, Earl, no? And impeachment, at the end of the day, is a political game. It's a numbers game. So if you were to advise lawmakers, ano ba ito? Should they be thinking twice before voting in favor, before supporting any ouster bid against Sara Duterte, now that she has formalized her bid? And alam naman natin na she's definitely a strong contender for 2028.
Yeah, the keyword dyan is strong, but he is not undefeatable. Ang kinatatakutan ng mga politiko kasi, paano pag manalo siya? Hindi sila natatakot na during the campaign, Sara will campaign against them. Hindi yan sila natatakot niyan dahil ang strength nila ay local. Lalo na itong mga congressman at saka mga governors. Nasa local yan. At sila actually yung gatekeepers during elections kung sino ang ipapaboto nila sa constituents. Pero ang mas natatakot sila kung mananalo dahil babalikan sila talaga ni Sara. Yun yung kinatatakutan nila. So, risk yun. Kailangan nila i-weigh itong tactical support nila doon sa Marcos. So they endorse the impeachment, or titignan nila more medium term kung manalo si Sara. So yun yung makakapagpabago. Yung mga weak ang bases no, ang mass base nila, electoral base nila, ay tingin ko aatras sa pag-sign ng impeachment. Pero yung mga talagang naka-entrench na mga families, politicians, sa tingin ko itutuloy nila yung pag-endorse sa impeachment complaint.
Earl, I wanted to go back to a point you made earlier that Sara Duterte is strong but she's not undefeatable. Sa paningin mo, Earl, what would it take to defeat a Sara Duterte in 2028?
Ito maraming factors at saka marami pang magiging issues na lilitaw between now and 2028 elections. Ang nakikita ko lang, pag one-on-one ang elections, malaking lamang ni Sara. Pero pag may iba pang mga kandidato, magiging three-cornered, four-cornered fight, sasabihin nating may tulog si Sara.
And is now the time to be forming alliances? Do you see the traditional opposition forming an alliance with the administration, with the Marcos faction? Would that even be a good idea if they wanted to beat Sara Duterte in 2028?
Sa tingin ko kasi hindi dapat alliance lang for convenience. What the people need now ay yung isang alliance based doon sa isang doable program. Ang dami nating problema, hindi lang yung corruption, kundi yung poverty, yung criminality, yung jobs. Ang daming issues na kailangan, mga gut issues na kailangan harapin ng mga kababayan natin. Kung makikipag-coalesce ka sa kay Bongbong, the present government na sa totoo lang, after 3 years, half ng term niya ay halos hindi umuusad. No? Sa tingin ko, mahihirapan unawain ng mga botante yan. I think the so-called traditional opposition should be differentiated from the progressive opposition na nag-i-emerge ngayon. No? Nandiyan ang Akbayan, nandiyan ang LP, no? Yung core LP. Hindi yung LP expanded during the time of Ninoy. No? The core LP, nandan yung mga NGO, civil society organizations, nandiyan nga yung simbahan, chunk ng simbahan. I think kailangan ito ang mag-coalesce. Hindi dapat sa tingin ko na habulin anuman ang maidadagdag ni Bongbong doon sa electoral battle sa 2028. Kasi sa tingin ko magiging minimal yan. No? Let the Marcos camp choose their own candidate, field their own candidates, no? Including the presidency, no? And let the progressive opposition also form its own slate from the president to Senate, Congress, governors.
And if anything, dapat natuto na rin tayo, di ba, that alliances made out of convenience don't usually end well, as we saw with the UNIT team in 2022. But just as a final question, Earl, I know you've followed the Dutertes for decades, and in 2016, the presidential campaign of the former president was described as quite unconventional, right? It was blunt, it was disruptive, but he really connected with the voters. What do you expect a Sara Duterte campaign to look like leading up to 2028?
Sa ngayon kasi ang klaro, inuugnay lang nila ang issue ng tatay niya sa kanya. So, marami actually silang nakuhang support dyan, no? Dahil sa tatay niya, yung hardline hard handling doon sa drugs, criminality, etc. Pero sa usapin ng poverty, ng employment at iba pang mga gut issues, nare-realize ng mga tao na kulang si Digong dyan. So, paano ito i-address ni Sara para magkaroon siya ng traction doon sa base ay remains to be seen. Sa ngayon, ang parang campaign nila ay pag-uugnay lang, pag-a-associate kay Sara doon sa tatay niya. So far, yun lang ang nakikita ko at naririnig ko sa ground.
Well, marami pang pwede mangyari and we will be keeping a close eye on that. But for now, thank you very much for sharing all your insights with us this morning. That was Earl Pareño, journalist and political observer.
Salamat.